Hello everyone. Watch out, the police might be after you. The good news is that we'll help you get ready. Today, we're going to talk about the different tricks and specifics of police forces and special services. Let's get it on. Well, we couldn't get very far. We were stopped by the police. If you are a law-abiding citizen, you've got nothing to worry about. But if you've broken the law and are up to no good, you stand no chance. The police have lots of tricks in their arsenal. First of all, even before stopping you, the officer has already recorded and sent the colleagues your license plate number and also chose the safest place on the side of the road. Why else do you think they were hanging on your tail for a couple of miles? There are various reasons the officer might single you out. For example, a car covered in mud driving in the city, opening the windows at the sight of the police car, or stickers that indicate antisocial behavior or promoting illegal substances, which according to the police is like a red rag to a bull. You might also have noticed that sometimes they approach the car from the driver's side, and sometimes from the passenger's side. This too is a kind of trick to confuse a potential assailant. The police officer chooses the side at the last moment, so there's almost no opportunity for the criminal to anticipate them. Well, along the way, they'll touch the tail light of a stopped car, especially if it's dirty, has a crooked license plate and a silly sticker on it. This is how the officer leaves their fingerprints in case of an emergency. Surveys show that only 50% of officers use this technique today, and if your car has been touched, congratulations, you must seem really suspicious. Then this guy's advice will hardly help.
Can I search your vehicle?
The answer is always no. If there is not already probable cause to search your vehicle, they can't look at it.
Better do what you're told to, otherwise there's a great chance you'll be taken to the station for interrogation. Let's assume this is what happened.
That's a bingo!
Handcuffed and in panic, you're brought into a stuffy room where you'll probably be cooped up for a couple of hours. And then suddenly a smiling cop walks in and offers you some water.
Good. You drink water? Sure.
Will you take it? We bet you will. And that's it. Now the authorities have your DNA, which the experts will collect from the bottle or the cup. Any trash, wrappers and scraps no longer belong to you here, so this way of obtaining biomaterial is not considered illegal. Maybe it's a good thing you didn't consent to a search with the dog during the car stop. Who knows what it would have sniffed out?
Alright, shopping list. Bread, milk, pasta, eggs, mayo, cocaine. Just kidding.
The cops admit that even when there is no way to find any illegal substances in the car, but they still need to take the suspicious person to the station, they can pretend that the dog reacted a certain way. One guy even said that he imitated the barking of a dog. Well, he did that to scare the burglars and make them come down from the roof. In a sense, he was working undercover at that time. Speaking of undercover work, don't you think those glasses, posture and peering gaze are a dead giveaway? This pal obviously arrived on a mission in one of these cars. Check out how many details make them different from civilian cars. Antennas, hidden flashing beacons and walkie-talkies, and they all usually remain unnoticed. The undercover cops also stand out from ordinary people. Odd behavior, the military-style haircut on male officers and ponytails on females, the bulky sweatshirt or shirt with large pockets, all of these signs tell us that these guys are here on a mission. And since they failed it, they have to suffer the harshest punishment. This is how they actually punished Thailand police officers who committed minor disciplinary infractions. The authorities explained that the old ways no longer worked, so they had to come up with something really scary. By the way, hit the like button if you would deliberately violate rules to get this armband. However, this didn't really ruin the mood of Thai cops much. Thailand is not the only Asian country that has a special strategy when it comes to law enforcement. Have you ever seen a police shootout like this in any South Korean movie? That's simply impossible, and here's why. The officers here use Smith & Wesson 5-shot revolvers, 2 of the 5 rounds in which are blanks. Is it some kind of Russian roulette to make service more exciting? The truth is, Korean laws on weapons are very strict, even when it comes to carrying stun guns. This also goes for the police officers. An officer who wounds or shoots a criminal will be thoroughly investigated and will most likely be suspended or end up in jail. That's why even if the officer is dealing with a psycho armed with a knife, they have to ask them 3 times to throw the weapon aside. Do you think this ever works?
That's a great plan.
Then they have to fire the blanks into the air twice, repeating their demand, and only if this doesn't work, they can aim at the criminal's feet. US cops watching this video must be like, so it's probably a good time to call them and order a pizza.
Oregon 911.
I would like to order a pizza at...
You called 911 to order a pizza?
Yeah, apartment...
This is the wrong number to call for a pizza.
No, you're not.
I'm getting you now.
Luckily for the woman, her last phrase made the operator realize it wasn't a prank. According to 911 dispatchers, over time they literally gain the ability to sense that something's wrong with the call. They're trained to analyze the voice on the phone, scan it for tension or fear, to listen for what's happening in the background, to ask clarifying questions, and so on. Nevertheless, it's better not to use the pizza trick. If for some reason you can't tell the truth, the police advise to just hang on the line or press 2 buttons on your phone, or pretend you're calling your cellular operator because of some issues with the connection and tell them the address, so the police don't have to waste time tracking the call. iPhone owners had another trick at their disposal.
Siri, charge my phone to 100%.
Calling emergency services in 5 seconds. Okay.
But in the new versions of iOS, they removed it for some reason. Alas, such tricks are used not only to prevent crimes, but also to commit them. Raise your hands those who got a call from the fake bank employees who tried to find out your card details. As technology evolves, so do the scammers, and even 2-factor authentication is no longer a problem for them. First, the user receives a fake payment link, for example on a marketplace, and after entering their data, they see the Sending SMS code window. At this time, scammers make a money withdrawal request, and the bank actually sends the code. After you enter it, you can say goodbye to your money. They can also exploit human feelings. An email subscriber receives a notification saying their activity resembles that of a spam bot.
You are just a machine, an imitation of life.
To prove they're actually a human, they have to enter the name, date of birth, password, and the answer to the security question. Only a human can do something so stupid. Or a group of people. On March the 21st, a hacker group Revol infected Acer servers with ransomware and demanded $50 million, the largest known ransom to date. However, cyberspace has its own superheroes, not only the security services, but also ordinary users. Remember the story of the WannaCry virus? In 2017, it threatened to infect almost every Windows computer on the planet. It was stopped by a 22-year-old guy from Britain. He noticed that the ransomware was sending a request to a domain that didn't exist, and simply registered it. The special operation cost the genius $11. don't think that before the digital age there were fewer scamming schemes. There is a reason why the US Secret Service has about 11,500 ink samples in its archives. Letters with threats, forged documents, information added after the fact. It's easy for the Secret Service to detect fraud thanks to chemical and visual tests. So, if someone decides to forge a Britney Spears autograph by simply choosing a similarly colored ink, it won't work. Although, who needs a Britney Spears autograph anyway? Counterfeiting money is a different matter. It's a lot more complicated than sending the user a phishing link. You have to match the paper, copy the 3D security features and holograms, and outsmart the Secret Service, which is keeping a close eye on things like that. But there are geniuses of their own on the other side too, like Francois Bourassa from Canada, who has printed $250 million worth of fake bills, virtually indistinguishable from real ones. Authorities found only 200 million, and a neat stack of bills with a total weight of 2.5 tons is still nowhere to be found. Probably it was after this story that Canada decided to produce polymer bills with increased security against counterfeiting. The most amazing thing about this story is that Bourassa just paid a $1,300 fine and served 6 weeks in jail. Guys like him are usually transported this way. Well, almost. They do use special transport and extra precautions like stun bracelets, which can be supplemented with a stun belt if you need to transport someone like him. But even measures like that sometimes don't save from unforeseen situations. To avoid them, you need guys who have been rigorously trained for such missions. And if you immediately thought of these tough guys, we have to disappoint you. They're hardly any good for this job. Why? Let's remember the classics, and you'll realize.
You don't look like a bodyguard.
This is my disguise.
Well, his timing's good.
Professionally trained bodyguards have to stay in the shadows to react quickly, and these people really know their job. As for the guys in the front, their job is to make a good impression. Even their clothes are sometimes chosen so that they look good next to the celebrities, since they're always in a highlight too. However, there's a higher level of secrecy among professionals who guard Celtic, Mogul, or Renegade. Can you guess who's hiding behind the code names? Joe Biden was named Celtic by the Secret Service because of his Irish roots. Donald Trump was understandably named Mogul, and Barack Obama was named Renegade. They say it's just a coincidence.
Coincidence? I think not!
Naturally, making up code names is by no means the only measure to protect state officials. For example, agents of the Secret Service arrive at a venue of the planned visit of the president 3 months ahead. They have to check all untrustworthy citizens, and if necessary, follow their every move, bring and train service dogs, instruct all nearest hospitals, and even get a reserve plane. Though it's not clear how 2 planes would be useful to a man who has Cadillac 1, aka the Beast. This car features 8 inches of door armor and 5 inches of window armor. Inside the car there are tanks of oxygen in case of a chemical attack, and even tanks with blood for transfusion, so the president can drive safely even in Compton or North Philly at night. There will also be something to cover yourself with when you exit this car. This umbrella isn't for rain protection, and the suitcase doesn't have any papers in it. The umbrella, made of special materials, can withstand a knife attack or a shot from a small caliber weapon. and the suitcase has a special button. No, not the one you thought of. If you press it, the suitcase turns into a Kevlar vest,
Pull this tab straight down.
behind which you can easily hide and return fire. By the way, Elizabeth II also had a special purse. No armor, concealed weapons, or anything of the sort, it had a much cooler feature. If Elizabeth suddenly began to switch it from one hand to the other, it was a signal to her staff that the Queen was tired of the conversation and it was time to take her away. Then, a special assistant would come up and say something like, "Your Majesty, the Archbishop of Canterbury's waiting for you. Hit the like button if you also think this purse is a must-have." But that doesn't mean the royal guards don't have any tricks of their own. They have fake arms. At least that's what some netizens believe. They noticed that at one of the ceremonies, one arm of some bodyguards was suspiciously motionless, and immediately came up with a theory that it's actually fake, and the real one holds a weapon at the ready under the clothes. Or maybe only guys like him are hired for this job, and they have to disguise themselves. The bodyguards, of course, have denied the speculations. Let's assume it's a mystery we have yet to uncover. And this is it for today, buddy. Now you know more than you should. Hit the like button if you learned something new today. Tell us in the comments about other nuances of police forces and special services work you know of, and see you soon.